Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the host may not state or reflect those of Peers and its members. Furthermore, the views and opinions made by the resource persons do not reflect those of the program, Peers, and its members.
Good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to The Pit, Peers in Town Hall. Isa pong mapagpalang linggo ng umaga sa ating lahat. Sana masarap po ang inyong tulog. Hope you've had a good night's sleep. And it's a beautiful, cold Sunday morning here in Manila. So I hope everybody is quite upbeat, quite have gotten their bearings back, hopefully, in the last 2 days of having rest, so to speak. And welcome to our episode 96. So this is quite different from what we are used to having as our episodes for the past couple of months. Because here in this episode, we begin focusing or bringing to the spotlight organizations that do good in Philippine society. So that would range from your professional organizations, your charitable social civic groups, you have business organizations, you have classification societies. Because here in Pearson Town Hall, we also want to focus on the good and to also bring good vibes to our viewers. So again, from our viewers from Batanes to Jolo, to our international community viewers, welcome to Peers in Town Hall. So we have with us this morning is a focus on the good side of construction. So you probably heard in the news the not so good news about construction in the Philippines, but we'd like to focus more this time on what's happening positively in the industry. And there have been a lot of positive developments. There are a lot of groups that contribute to infrastructure development, but there are also groups that support construction professionals. And we'd like to give this opportunity to one of the organizations operating in the Philippines, but with international presence, to give us a flavor of what they are doing here in the Philippines, what are their advocacies, what's their purpose in terms of doing these activities, and of course, some personal opinions, some personal perspectives on why they choose to be part of these organizations. But again, this is all part of our journey towards the pit at 100. Para sa atin mong mga tagapanood, malapit na po tayong mag-100 episode ng Peers, no? Kung kaya't marami po tayong babalikan, marami tayong sasariwain, at marami din po tayong ipapakilalang mga panibagong organisasyon at programa. And this episode is part of that journey towards finding out the good in our society. So before I begin introducing our episode guest this morning, I'd just like to give a brief background on this organization that we are featuring this morning. So this group was established as an NGO in 1997. On an average, they support students at around 30 annually. They have around 4 charity construction projects and over 50 plus members, and it's still a growing organization. Nevertheless, I think our guest for this morning would do justice to explaining the objectives, the purpose, and the activities of Lighthouse Club Manila Incorporated. This is part of Lighthouse Club International, which is a non-political organization that's supporting the construction industry worldwide. So we are fortunate this morning to have with us the chairman of Lighthouse Club Manila Inc. He's also a construction professional working here in the Philippines. So for the first time on The Pit, we have Mr. Bert Demang. Bert, good morning and welcome to The Pit.
Hello, good morning, Aaron. It's my honor and pleasure to join you here at The Pit today.
Thank you, Bert, for we've been discussing this, doing this for quite a time now, and we finally were able to land one good Sunday morning for this discussion. But a lot of people, Bert, just to give them a sort of a flavor of what Lighthouse does, because I mentioned in the intro that basically it's a non-political organization supporting the construction industry amongst many countries. So just my first question, out of curiosity, Why lighthouse? Why amongst the many other terms in the industry? Why? What inspired the organization to name it as Lighthouse?
Okay, well, that's that's a good question, Evan. I mean, like, so just a bit of a brief history about the Lighthouse Club. And the Lighthouse Club was founded 70 years ago in the United Kingdom, and I think it started after an exhibition. Some professionals were very happy to meet each other. Walked after the exhibition, actually on the beach, which was in Whitley Bay, and they say, "Oh, we really like this kind of environment. It's good to see each other again, and we should do that more often, and not only be depending on exhibitions." And actually, they started to talk about founding this club, and it's just pretty straightforward. Normally, when you walk on the beach, you start to talk about how we call the club, and of course, there's a tremendous nice lighthouse in Whitley Bay, and say, let's call it the Lighthouse Club. It's a very common name for a lot of charities, etc. Of course, because it's a beacon of hope, a beacon of the guidance, and so forth. But so there's many lighthouse clubs around, but there's only one lighthouse club that's focused on the construction industry. So, if I may, I will quickly guide you a bit to the history. How do we get back in Philippines then? From the United Kingdom, lighthouse clubs have been established in the Netherlands, I think even in South Africa at the time, and 40 years ago, it was founded in Hong Kong, and then slowly it spills over Southeast Asia, and we've been now in Manila 30 years. This is also our 30th year anniversary. So the Lighthouse Club has been focused on construction, it's been here for 30 years, and yeah, and I will explain probably a bit more later what we all do in this Lighthouse Club. But yeah, it's been around for a long time, and we've done a lot of good and impactful work.
Yeah, thank you, Bert, for that. So I think just for the audience to understand, though, that this is mainly a non-government organization, and it's an international. It was as mentioned by Bert. It was born out of UK, and it's sprawled over through other continents here in the Asia Pacific, in Hong Kong, and in the Philippines. But Bert, just give us a sneak preview or a flavor. What's really the purpose of Lighthouse? What's the ultimate objective of the Lighthouse Club in terms of supporting the construction industry?
Yes, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, clubs are always established to promote fellowship, and otherwise, I don't think it's a club, right? So that's always our primary objective as a club. Okay, we want to promote fellowships, especially in construction, and that's why we also have regular social nights where you can meet each other after work, talk about anything but work. Of course, we always talk about work in construction, but so that's the primary objective. And the second objective, which after we started the club 70 years ago, I was not there, by the way, as you can expect, but is that slowly and steadily there's a lot of hardship around construction, and so slowly and steadily charity and charitable assistance became more and more the second primary objective. And that difference per lighthouse club, there's a lot of lighthouse club in Southeast Asia, East Asia, and even Australia. They all have maybe a bit of a different flavor, how they focus on the charitable side. In Manila, it's primarily focused on education, because I think a lot of us think that education is critically important, and the opportunity to follow education and be educated, that's not always easy. And it can be life-changing for a lot of people. So that's the primary focus here in Manila. We do some other work, emergency health, safety promotion, and so forth, but we primarily try to promote the education side. And the education side is also good for the industry. The industry always needs new talent, and those who don't get the opportunity to be educated in construction or related studies, it will expand also the industry. So it helps the industry as well. And I think that's the work that we do. It works two ways. Once we have an architecture graduates, it goes directly into the industry here in the Philippines, and they help to develop the Philippines as well.
Thank you, Bert, for that clarification. And I think you give a good flavor, or you give a good peek for our viewers onto what Lighthouse Manila has been doing and what's been the focus area. But between Lighthouse Club and Lighthouse International and Lighthouse Club Manila,
Yeah.
is there a level of autonomy or level of independence in terms of pursuing very a specific advocacy, or is there like a blanket purpose that all Lighthouse Club country offices need to subscribe to or need to adhere to?
Okay, well, that's a good question because not everybody maybe realize that in the Lighthouse Clubs. But the Lighthouse Club here in Manila is independent, right? And we have our own bylaws, we have our own objectives, we have our own board of trustees who basically decide what they want to do in the future. They organize their own events. And it's only also about 40 years ago that Lighthouse Club International, but had a different name at the time, was established as a blanket over coupling and over the blanket over the other branches, which actually try to help the branches also where they need some help. If members from other countries want to join the club, they can join the Lighthouse Club International, because in some countries there's no Lighthouse Club available, but still they may want to be part of the club. But also the Lighthouse Club International, they also have a number of trusts under them. And so fundraising has been done, and the Lighthouse Club International actively supports the local branches with the charitable objectives financially. So, say if the Philippines has an application for assistance and we don't have the funds ourselves, or it's quite a big burden for us, we could also apply to Lighthouse Club International to ask them for help. So it works both ways. I hope in the future that Lighthouse Club International can be set up more programs themselves in addition to the clubs, but that's something we are currently working on.
Oh, thank you, Bert, for that clarification and the levels of autonomy or the levels of independence each Lighthouse country branch or country office has in terms of pursuing its objectives. But one of the good points, Bert, you've raised, one of the specific focus areas of Lighthouse Club Manila is supporting education, and I just like to focus on that and how Lighthouse Club specifically supports education and construction, because what's available in our website, just for the benefit of our viewers, I've mentioned this already previously that I'm a newly installed board member of the Lighthouse Club Manila, is the scholarship program that we offer to the construction industry, may it be family of a construction industry professional or what have you. But what made you decide? What made the Lighthouse Club Manila decide to invest in scholarship? Because there are two programs I'd like to touch on. The first one is the scholarship program, and then the second one is our TVET, or our technical vocational educational assistance. So I'd just like to touch short on the scholarship.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, the actual background is before my time, of course.
Okay. Sure.
But I think like myself, I mean, I always think that education. When I arrived in Southeast Asia, I wanted to focus on education and try to help local organizations on the education part, because I think personally it's critically important. So in many Lighthouse Club branches, they think the same. So we have established a scholarship program quite a while ago already, over 20 years. I believe we have been helping them. We've been growing the number of scholars that we could help. And it's basically in the scholarship program, before I go to the vocational training, there are two focuses. One is it's for underprivileged Filipinos to follow a construction-related study, or we provide support to families where the parent or guardian either passed away or faces serious health issues and cannot work anymore. But if they're from a construction industry background, and then we still provide scholarship support, and they can study something else. So there's always a construction relationship. Either someone is from the construction industry background themselves, or they want to study into the construction industry and then moving on working in the construction industry. So that's the link that we have. And the other one is the vocational training. That is relatively new. We started last year with a pilot. I think it's also very important to realize that not everybody has the opportunities to capabilities to go to college, to university, and the industry is also very much there's always a shortage of uh, skilled labor, and so that's why we try to set up a vocational training program. So this started last year. We are in a pilot right now, and that will be completed mid of this year, and hopefully we can expand then also vocational training. At the moment, we do that together with Don Bosco. So Don Bosco provides the education program. We provide financial support, and the training is focused at the moment for aircon mechanics and electricians. And maybe in the future we can create more programs with Don Bosco, but there is a clear shortage of skilled labor, skilled workers as well in the industry here, especially unfortunately many of them are also working overseas. So we think it's important to contribute as well, even in a smaller capacity, if it's with 10 or 25 scooters every time. But it is important for the industry. So that's where we're coming from. And like you said, why a specific scholarship? To give some other examples, like in UK, the focus is very much mental health.
Mm-hmm.
In Australia, also mental health. In Hong Kong, it's very much focused on the accidents in projects and then supporting the families financially, because there's easier access to education. So, but in Malaysia and Singapore, to give a few examples, the focus is primarily education as well. In Bangkok, at the time, they supported a school for the children of site workers, and they basically paid for the teachers. And so there's various examples how people in branches say, okay, this should be our primary objective. But our education is embedded in our articles of incorporation and in our bylaws. So that will always be our primary objective.
Thank you, Bert. And I think that kind of program coming from the NGO spheres, no, the social civic spheres, is a complementary to whatever existing program there is locally in terms of supporting education initiatives. And it's good to for the public to know that there exists organizations and there exist programs really to support scholarship programs in particular to enhance or to build up the existing gap in terms of construction professionals in the Philippines. But this also brings to light one of the advocacies of Lighthouse Club Manila, which you recently launched, Bert, and I'd be happy to ask you some questions on this. Because you've opened up a special group within Lighthouse Club Manila. It's the Lighthouse Club Manila Young Professional Circle. And it has piqued the interest of many young engineers, young construction workers. So just take us through this Young Professional Circle initiative. And what do you see the potential of this group in terms of the future of Lighthouse Club Manila and the future of the Philippine construction industry?
Yeah. The Lighthouse Club, before I joined here in Manila, I've been in Manila 4 years. I was in Malaysia, and I was always been quite active internationally. So it's a benefit for me that I see what other Lighthouse Clubs are doing. And Lighthouse Club Hong Kong has always been quite an example for us. It's the biggest club in the region, and they've done a lot of initiatives, and one of them is the young professionals. And the reason why they created that and why I also want to organize it in Manila is that if you look at our social nights, it's a gathering, it's a function, and it's a lot of talking, networking, just catching up with friends, meeting new friends. But for younger professionals, that may be not the primary interest. And if there's a young members group, they can organize anything they would like to do. We have the network, and we can do other other type of events. So, for example, I think it's always very important that young professionals get exposed to construction sites. If you work for a contractor, yeah, it's quite straightforward, and you work on the site. But if you're a construction lawyer or some kind of a QS, PQS, you probably not visit the site so often. So site visits are very easy to organize. If you have the network, you can organize a site visit for 15, 20, or 25 people. Or a technical talk, talking with more senior professionals in a specialized field, organize technical talks. So there's a lot more to organize, which doesn't have to cost much or anything. It's just a matter of willingness to do that. And the good thing is, if it's under the Lighthouse Club Manila, for example, those younger members will get more familiar with the club, and they're also the future leaders of the Lighthouse Club here in Manila. It's going to be important for us that we think about legacy and how does the club going to be here in 10, 20 years. And it's important for us to attract younger members who are interested, where maybe more senior members may have seen and done that already, and they just like to catch up over a social night. So for me, the young members is, first of all, very important for the club. Legacy plans. Secondly, they can create their own little committee, even when it's maybe not formally. They can organize their own. And we need sponsorship for an event or for a talk or to pay for a function room. They can organize it themselves. So I think it's also important for the professional development to give them a bit more leadership opportunity besides the regular work, where they can do it a little bit different in their own way on smaller projects. And it can also be fixing small plumbing in an orphanage. That can be tree planting. That doesn't have to be always really focus on technical talks, etc. It can also be just doing a different type of charitable assistance than our primary focus of education.
Yeah. Thank you, Bert. I think our audience clearly now understands the importance of having a solid young professionals organization, basically to prolong the lifeline of the organization in the long run, and also the ability of that group to be able to be self-sufficient, to be able to think of activities that would be suitable to their constituency, if I may call it as such, or to their peers. And our organization is peers. So that being said, I think we go to another critical component of the Lighthouse Club Manila's operations is membership. So just take us through the composition of the membership of Lighthouse Club Manila, Bert. Is it really mostly construction contractors, suppliers, and are we open to non-construction firms or companies? So just give us a sneak peek of the current membership of Lighthouse Club Manila.
Okay, so we have two levels of membership, which is individual membership and corporate membership. So at the moment, we have around 25 corporate members, and we have around 50 individual members. And in the individual membership, we then have a young membership and a normal membership. So 50 and 25, and the corporates can bring more people to events and so forth. I think the market here in the Philippines, there's a lot more opportunity to grow the club, to become bigger. And we hope we can do that by doing what we do, which is very impactful. And we hope especially also that, for example, our schoolers, once they graduate, also become members in our club and as an alumni. But it's not always easy, because if you want to be part of the club, you also want to be able to visit events. So since transportation in Manila is not always easy, if you live a bit further away and you work a bit further away, maybe there's a bit of a resistance to join the club. But we do a lot of good work, and we need the members to do what we do. And to continue what we do, because a club without members is actually not a club. But we've been growing over the last few years, because after COVID, even when that's 4 or 5 years ago already, we had to start from scratch. There was no membership anymore, and we had to build up the new members of the club. So hopefully we can grow more. You were talking about the construction professionals or non-professionals. Everybody's welcome, but we are, of course, primarily a construction club, and we have a primary focus is, of course, also the contractors, consultants, supply chain of the construction industry. But if you're just interested to join us because you think we're doing good work, you're more than welcome. And actually, if you want to help out, you don't need to be in a board of trustees to help the Lighthouse Club. You want to help out with events, you want to help out with a committee for like scholarship, or you want to help out organizing other events like the young members and so forth. Yeah, it's very much invited because we all volunteers. We all do that as voluntary work to run the club.
Bert, you described the membership pretty clearly, and also the need for membership, of course, to sustain the organization's operations and to support the activities of Lighthouse Club Manila. But an interesting question which I raised a couple of meetings ago, and I think the public would like to know is, how do we vet the applications for membership? Because as we all know, in any organization, there are many good cops, but there can also be a rotten egg. So how do we prevent, say, for example, a rotten egg from becoming part of the organization and then potentially polluting the purpose, the good purpose or the good objectives of Lighthouse Club Manila?
Yeah, so that's also something we've been discussing in the club as well. That there are concerns about people need to be of a good stature with the club and don't have any criminal records or something, for example. So we are doing our own due diligence, where especially, of course, the ones who signs up to become a member needs to declare that they've been a good person and what the background is. And if that declaration is incorrect, that would mean that we also could revoke the membership if that would be required. So, but we like I said, we are a voluntary organization. We are not going to in some kind of corporate intelligence to check somebody's background, right? That's going too far. So we try to do that on a professional level. We do know a lot of people ourselves. So very often members are joining the club and we know the company, we know individual members or we know the companies they work for. But in the case that something serious happening, what is not acceptable, then we also have to take measures as the board, and we need to create that opportunity, and it goes back to declarations on the application that somebody declares everything to be true and valid.
Yeah, well, thank you, Bert. I think that's providing a balance between doing your diligence, basic diligence, and at the same time, this is a social organization, so we don't like to act like we're a police or we're a licensing board.
Exactly. You have to see it like a lot of professional organizations. You can become a member of the Society of Construction Law, and you also need to make certain declarations. You can become a member of all kind of professional organizations here, and it's very difficult for those clubs to do all the background check, to all the level of details. But for us, it's important. We are non-political. We also don't discriminate, right? So we are open, but the check and balance need to be available for us to check that to a certain level of detail that we know. Those members we can accept, and in general. Luckily, we don't have any issues at the moment.
It's a good thing. So thank you for providing that clarification and providing that very balanced perspective in terms of checking on applications and at the same time recognizing this is a social organization and most of our memberships are really based on referrals. So based on those referrals, there's always going to be a weight in terms of the ones referring the background also of these people, and for certain, of course, they would recommend an organization to be part of Lighthouse if they have good working experience with these organizations or these individuals.
Yeah.
But you touched a very good point, Bert, earlier. You mentioned the COVID pandemic, and everybody, I mean, not a single soul or not a single organization was insulated from the impact
Yeah.
of COVID-19 from a physical, emotional, financial standpoint. So how did Lighthouse somehow future-proof itself for events like that, especially from a financial perspective? Because we all know for a fact that we have to raise funds yearly to support the operations of the organization. So I'm not sure how long Lighthouse Club's activities went on limbo during that time, but basically just take us through the journey. How did you future proof, or how did you shield Lighthouse Club's operations from the impact of COVID at that time?
Yeah. So what's very important in our charitable assistance is that we can organize fundraising events.
Mm-hmm.
And with those fundraising, we can support our charitable assistance. So if we can't organize that, then we need to rely on cash in hand in the bank to support that, especially when we have long-term commitments. So especially our scholarship program is very critical for that, and it's just to make sure that our finances are secure enough that we can conform with the commitment also with the schooler. Because it will be a disaster if you provide charitable assistance and after 1 or 2 years you have to say, well, sorry, we cannot support you anymore for your final 2 years. So this is something we need to be very careful about, that when we commit to schoolers, that we have sufficient funds available to make sure that we can commit the full schooler, the study of the schooler. And besides that, it's for us pretty simple, because if we say there's another COVID-19 coming up, 20 coming up, and we have another few years of non-availability to meet socially and so forth, it just means that we cannot meet up socially, and we cannot grow a club, and people after a long term they will not say, okay, we don't know how long it will take before this is over. They revoke the membership, cancel the membership, and so forth. And so as a club, we need to organize a fundraising event. We need to make sure that once we commit to a schooler, we can commit for the full duration. And we are able to do that. We've been, over the last few years, luckily we've been able to reestablish that situation, so that our schoolers can finish their study. That's most important, whatever happens.
Yeah, that's a very good. It's a very good. What do you call this? A mechanism in place that we have put. So we are a Lighthouse is a self-sustaining organization. It has activities mainly generating income to be able to support our educational assistance programs. So
Yeah.
there's also the part that we get some support from the Lighthouse Club International, but that's, I think, on a limited scale, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
And as long as we are basically successful in a way, then we can commit the next year. This year we have a number of schoolers that are graduating. That means we can fill the open spots again with new schoolers, and we can commit again for a new period for 4 or 5 years, how long it is. And so it's a continuous annual exercise for us, where we have, in general, approximately 30 schoolers at the moment.
Mhm.
And at the moment, 10 in vocational training, that once they graduate, we can find new young Filipinos who are eligible for the scholarship program. And hopefully also in the future we can expand a little bit more, but there's a lot of administration involved. But that's the annual exercise that we have, so we can assure our commitment.
Yeah. Thank you, Bert, and thank you for providing that bit of information on the importance of activities in terms of supporting organizations' financial position, especially that we support all these educational assistance programs. We need funding, of course. So that's an ongoing exercise that we do. But you mentioned also, Bert, there are a couple of advocacies in other countries, which I believe, or which we believe, are also relevant to what is happening in the Philippine construction industry. I'd just like to get your thoughts and Lighthouse Club Manila's initiatives on these aspects. One of which, almost, well, a month and a half from now, we will be celebrating Women's Month. And part of that Women's Month celebration is there is an industry wide advocacy for greater inclusivity for women in the construction industry. So, if I may ask, or if I may pick your thoughts and Lighthouse Club Manila's thoughts on what's our existing program or what are our existing advocacies or initiatives in terms of women in construction, particularly in
Yeah.
the Philippines.
Yes. Yeah, it's something which we started uh, in the Lighthouse Club a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
It is something which requires more attention, I think, and that's why also with Women's Month coming up, I want to re-emphasize the importance of women in construction. Again, in Hong Kong, they actually have a women in construction on the Lighthouse Club. They organize their own events, uh, but it's everybody's welcome in these events, but it's organized by a group of women in construction, and you see that in other countries as well. You have women in rail, you have other different platforms, and I don't want to overemphasize it, but I do think it's still important. And to give an example, is that last week we had a social night, and we had a sponsor. I would like to use them as an example. We had a sponsor T1 Project Services, and if you look at the room, it's probably mostly male members attending these events and not so many female members. And when I was talking with them about this, they say, well, 80% of our staff is women. And like, well, why they're not here, right? So yeah, I can understand that there's still a lot to win, but there's a lot of women working in construction. There's also quite a few women in very senior positions, and we organized some talks with them. But we do need to revive that very soon. But we can only do that because I think it should be led by women. I mean, it's not. I'm happy to start initiative. I'm very happy
Yeah.
that our board as well to support that any way we want. But it requires also a few active members to say, oh, I want to do something here. Uh, and um, and then we can help. We can always support that. But I do think it's still very much important. While there's some very senior women around in construction, uh, they are absolutely, and I think also an example for the industry. And we still need to put a bit more emphasis on it and give it a bit more attention, so that everybody's much aware that it's not a male-dominated industry anymore.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think it's very important that not just Lighthouse, but all organizations have an inclusivity lens in terms of women's participation in any type of organization. And it's good that we are gearing towards putting more effort or putting more initiatives in place to encourage women to participate in Lighthouse activities and also in general in the construction industry. There's a very, I would say, a very critical, I would also say a very interesting advocacy, which you mentioned earlier, Bert, which strikes a nerve amongst many young professionals. It's mental health.
Yeah.
So, what's your experience in terms of dealing with other Lighthouse Club International offices in terms of what they're doing to support the mental health of construction professionals? And how do you think in the Philippines we can sort of customize or we can sort of tailor fit these programs to the Philippine setting?
Yeah, I think I mean, and I'm by far an expert in this, but
Sure, sure.
I've always used Lighthouse Club UK as an example. The Lighthouse Club UK is actually it's a charity, and underneath they got all kind of branches in the country, in the UK and Ireland, who are organized like Lighthouse Club Manila. But on top of that, they have an actually foundation charity running primarily focus on mental health. They give continuous training and education. They have a hotline you can call. I think everybody all over the world can call this hotline because as long as you speak English, it's 24/7. And in Australia, they have something similar. They got mates in construction. But going back to UK, I think the number is like there's 2 suicides a day in construction in the UK. And if you look at a big picture of over a year, you might say, "Oh, okay, that's so many." But 2 per day is like it's impossible to believe that it's such a mental health, such a big concern. So in Asia, there's always been much more of a taboo about talking about mental health and especially about suicide. I've encountered it in Malaysia as well. the reporting is not always there. Often it's unfortunately ignored. And I do think that, like, besides, we've always tried to create awareness for safety and health on construction sites. We cannot ignore the fact of mental health. So we are exploring our options here in Manila. How can we do that? And how can we learn from Australia and UK, or maybe we can use those platforms. I don't see us creating a new phone number here that you can call. There are existing phone numbers, but it's being familiar and being encouraged. If there's a mental health concern and you recognize that somebody can give a call and get some assistance. And so we try to develop that under our board of trustees as well, a certain program, and Julian Smith is involved, is leading that. As I'm also very much involved in the Lighthouse Club International, I would like to set up. I want Lighthouse Club International to also promote that towards all the branches, so we can all do a bit more on this aspect, which is too often. We all do recognize the concern and the issues, but we don't really know how to deal with it. But it's a difficult topic, because, like I said, you need experts around you to actually deal with it. It's not for I can't resolve it. I can only try to connect or give more awareness about mental health personally, or our board can do that, or the Lighthouse Club can do that. And I see my colleagues around me in my work as well doing that more and more often. And I'm pretty sure in other construction companies it's the same thing. But I think we should maybe have that more in a general alignment overall. So it's not like individual by companies, and hopefully we can get the industry awareness to a higher level and help those the people who actually need some mental assistance.
Thank you for that, Bert, and thank you for providing an international perspective, or at least the experiences from other Lighthouse Club country offices in terms of mental health issues. And you raise a very good statistic, which hopefully doesn't happen here in the construction industry in the Philippines, and in society in general. Given.
If I may
go ahead.
interrupt you, Aaron,
Sure.
I mean, what's the number in Philippines, for example, right? Do we know that?
That's
No.
actually interesting. Yeah.
How can we get those numbers? Do we know if we can get them from Dole or
From
somewhere
the
else?
Department of Health
Yeah.
or Dole.
Yeah.
That could be a good benchmark.
Yeah,
Say, for example,
absolutely.
to provide an intervention. And there are many. Of course, there are reported cases. There are also unreported cases. So
Exactly.
and we've seen some of my colleagues have seen these manifestations on social media, like some young professionals posting something before committing the act. So it has raised the alarm bells. Yeah,
And it is difficult because if it doesn't happen on the project side, it's probably not triggered as a construction issue, and it's more a private event or circumstance. So it's it's difficult, but it's good to know. It will be good to know a bit more about also how the government is trying to create more awareness on mental health, and because it is a big concern, not only here, in every country. There's a lot of stress involved in working and maintaining the family, and also, there's a lot of pressure on work as well on the sites.
Yeah, and you touch on a good point on mental health, which is part of a bigger spectrum, so to speak, on health and safety, which you've mentioned earlier is an advocacy also of the other Lighthouse Club offices. And I think it's also part of our DNA in terms of what we do here in Lighthouse Club. We support all these safety initiatives. But what do you think from a Lighthouse Club Manila perspective? Can we do more to promote construction, health, and safety in terms of being a social club?
Yeah, I think we can. And I was thinking while we were talking, like, okay, mental health, it's complicated enough. It's about good work-life balance, is maintaining a healthy life, being able to escape the stress you experience on your work, or maybe in private situations. There's so many aspects with it, but I do think that we can provide some additional support by, for example, organizing certain talks, getting certain experts. Talk about the certain issues, because even while a lot of companies are maybe dealing with it, probably most of them are very large companies who can easily organize and create more awareness than maybe smaller organizations. So this is where I think Lighthouse Club can also help. If you're a smaller organization, we can provide other expertise as well. We can connect with the industry.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for those insights, Bert, on health and safety. And again, this is a very complicated issue, and I think all the most of the Lighthouse Club members have very strong safety cultures,
Yeah,
very stringent in terms of
yeah,
monitoring safety, ensuring from a proactive standpoint that we're able to put in place all these HSE measures to ensure not just LTI free hours, but no fatalities, no serious injuries on site, and even
yeah,
in the workplaces. Yeah. So just to basically to give you also an opportunity, Bert, because the other day, right, we had a cocktail event at the Lighthouse Club Manila, basically to launch all our upcoming and interesting activities and projects. And to tell our audience, Lighthouse Club Manila will be celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, and there are a couple of activities lined up by Lighthouse Club Manila in celebration of that. So, Bert, for the benefit of those that who do not know Lighthouse, who only know Lighthouse now, what are the activities or the projects which you think the industry professionals can get involved and organizations can also get involved?
yes. Okay. So besides the social aspect, where we have a monthly social event, we got a couple of bigger events planned this year. The first one is going to be on the 7th of February, which is one of the main fundraising events, where we call it the Lap Dog Challenge. Maybe a bit of a funny name, but teams of maximum 5 are challenging themselves to walk or run as many laps as they can in 4 hours. But it's not just only the physical challenge, it's also for them a challenge to raise funds for the Lighthouse Club. Because this is where the participants and the companies who supporting those participants can reach out to the supply chain or to the friends and family to sponsor them, so we can raise more funds for the Lighthouse Club, and we can continue and hopefully also expand our charitable assistance. So that's coming up on the 7th of February in the University of Makati. And if you're, people can also just come and join and have a look how it is. You already mentioned our 30th anniversary. That's a big anniversary on the 5th of September. We have a few more events planned before that date. That's probably for especially people who know the Lighthouse Club a bit more interesting. We do have a golf day, of course. That's the other major fundraising event at the end of this year, I think in October, November. But in general, like I said, I'm actually very much trying to reach out for younger members and women in construction who would like to join the club and help to set up those initiatives and provide a broader platform for the club to rely on, because we're going to be very busy already with this organization of this anniversary, and now we just need more active support around the club to organize other events as well. Even when it's, like you say, it's a technical talk, or it's a mental health talk, or it is a site visit, or it's something else which is just good for the industry and provides, or even for the community, then it's very much welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Bert, for giving us a flavor of the events that are lined up for Lighthouse Club Manila. I'd like to go to a more personal question on this episode, because we all operate on whys, right? We all operate on purpose. So, a personal question to you, Bert.
Yeah.
why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why did you join Lighthouse? Why did you take the chairmanship? You already mentioned that this is pure volunteer work, and there's a lot of activities that the Lighthouse Club is doing. So, from a personal standpoint, what's your why?
Yeah. Okay. So to explain the audience is like, I mean, I'm from the Netherlands actually. I didn't even say that, right? But maybe you can hear a bit of funny accents. So I'm from the Netherlands, and in 2012, I decided to pack my bags and try my luck in Malaysia. I didn't have any job there. I didn't have anything. I only was in Malaysia on vacation before, so I went there, and I would say, oh, let's see how that goes. And I made the decision for myself, if I can find a job in Malaysia, I want to give something back to the community. So while I was looking for a job, I was also exploring what kind of charities do we have in Malaysia at the time. And it surprised me how difficult it was to get more information about charities and what they're actually doing and how much of 1 peso is actually going to the charity. But I met an well, he's now a very good friend of mine, and he introduced me to this Lighthouse Club. So in this Lighthouse Club, it became very clear that our membership are basically take care of the operation. That funds raised for charity are all going to the charity, and I like that concept. So instead of I give 1 peso, but only half of them going to the charity because we got all kind of other costs somewhere else. So it was very pure, it was very direct. It was not a massive, big organization, but it was international focus. It was local, international. You meet some very interesting people. And my company at the time I was working for, they've been very active in the club for a long time. And they say, well, we've done enough. Bert, if you want to put some more time and effort in it. So I became a secretary, became very committed to the club. And when I changed job from Malaysia to Philippines, before I arrived here, I was already in the committee. So I'm just very committed to the club, and I spend a lot of my time for it because I know we do a lot of good work, and especially in the Philippines, I cannot emphasize it enough. I mean, the scholarship program that we have is really impactful, and we don't see the scholars very often, maybe once or twice a year. Sorry. But see them develop over a couple of years, and then be graduated, and then they can go and work as an architect or civil engineer, and sometimes they even work for our members, or they find their own job. It's just very impactful. It's very direct. It's not somebody we help. We don't have any visibility on, and that's also okay to help somebody because charity comes from the heart. And you want to help someone. But for us as a smaller club, it's been very impactful, and that drives me a bit more to do more for the club, and not only here in Manila, but hopefully in the future also internationally.
Thank you, Bert, for putting a story behind your involvement in organizations such
Yeah.
as Lighthouse Club Manila. And it's a story that our audience would need to hear, basically. Because here in the Pearson Town Hall, we also want to provide you with stories of people who work for organizations that are not necessarily political, but they
Yeah, yeah,
contribute to the whole process of nation building. They contribute to the whole process of national and international development. So, as a final statement or as a final question, Bert, before we close this episode, and our episode is a mix of Filipino and English. We call
yeah,
it Sana All, hopefully all, like the good side of construction. Because
yeah,
all we've been hearing that it's a personal advocacy also working in the construction industry and hearing all these things that are on the news and social media. There is a spotlight that has been given to the bad side, but we also want to give a spotlight to the good side. What others don't see behind all these buildings, behind all these infrastructures or organizations that contribute to nation building in their own small and impactful ways. So just like to give you as a final statement the opportunity really to give us a message why people should join Lighthouse. What is the good side of Lighthouse Philippines in the construction industry? And just a message overall to our viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's many organizations in Philippines who provide a lot of charitable support, and they all do a lot of good work, and they all got a different focus in how they organize their charitable support. But I do think, like in the Lighthouse Club, as it is in Construction Club, as it is an international with international links to other branches where we learn from with an international organization as a blanket on top of us and other trusts to support our initiatives as well. I think, as I mentioned before, it is very, very direct and very impactful. You can meet very senior persons from the industry in our club, but you can also meet fellows who are the same age as yourself. And we give a lot of opportunity to grow and develop yourself in a club without any specific programs that you need to follow or need to be done before that. And if you're interested in the club, and I hope you also can put that on the video sometime. But we have emails, websites, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I will mention that shortly. But yeah, it is good to see us sometime. You're very much welcome to join us at a social night or reaching out to us and see if you want to contribute, especially those who are in the construction club. But if you're not in the construction industry, sorry, that's what I meant, is you can also reach out to us and try to help out. Last week, I had a talk with somebody who is not directly in the construction industry who wants to help out. So that's all possible. So you can check us out on Facebook, Lighthouse Club Manila. You can check us on LinkedIn. Same, Lighthouse Club Manila. I think you can easily find us. And you can email us otherwise for more information if you want to become a member or you want to get some more background information. We are mostly focused in Makati and Manila area, but we may also have opportunities or options in other regions in the Philippines. So you can also email us at lighthouseclubmanila@gmail.com. Thank you, Aaron, for this opportunity, and I hope that I know there's a lot of good work done in the Philippines, and I know we do a lot of good work, and I hope we can continue to do that, and we can build another 30 years here at Lighthouse Club Manila, doing the same what we've done in the past.
Bert, thank you very much for your insights, your personal and organizational views on Lighthouse Club Manila, its projects, programs, and advocacies that are geared towards supporting the construction industry, not only in the Philippines, but through Lighthouse Club International in many countries where it is present. So as a final statement to our viewers this morning, at siguro tatagalogin ko ito para mas maintindihan ng iba nating mga kababayan na nanonood po dito sa Pilipinas. So, and I'd use the two languages. I'd code switch a little just for our viewers to understand what Lighthouse Club Manila does. So. And it is very important for me to stress the whys, right? Ano ba yung balikan natin yung commercial ng Nescafe. Bakit tayo gumigising sa umaga? Ang isang taong walang maliwanag na purpose sa buhay o walang ambisyon sa buhay o maliwanag na layunin sa kanyang buhay ay parang isang patay na tao. So a man who doesn't have a purpose is like a dead man walking. And from a personal standpoint, I mentioned it to you a while ago, that purpose would only be fulfilled if, one, your financial needs are not only met, but also your social, your emotional, and your nationalistic fervor or fulfillment is satisfied or met. So Bert mentioned to you a while ago that this Lighthouse Club Manila is purely volunteer work, right? So we all have jobs in the day. I have peers, of course. I do peers in town hall every Sunday. But there's also the part that we want to help beyond getting paid for something or getting remuneration for something. And we wanted to highlight in this particular episode that there are organizations that work behind the scenes. There are organizations that support not just the industry, but basically infrastructure development if you look at it on a bigger lens or in a bigger scope. And this is what we want to put into the spotlight. Those things that are being done behind the scenes. Those organizations that are doing something positive for the industry and for the country in general. And we egg on our viewers, our members, not just to be social media keyboard warriors, to be active, to be participative, to join organizations that have a clear sense of vision, that have a clear sense of mission, and have projects, real projects that you can see that benefit and impact their constituencies, may it be in the construction sector, may it be society, may it be the international humanitarian community. And Lighthouse Club Manila is part of a worldwide group called Lighthouse International. So there is credibility, there is a track record if you would look at the website of Lighthouse Club Manila. And we egg on all construction individuals and even non-construction professionals or non-construction organizations, if not for Lighthouse Manila, of other organizations that do the same, that provide support to the vulnerable, to the marginalized, to the oppressed, if that is in a different context, because these are the individuals that need most of our help, right? And through these organizations and the many organizations that we will feature in future Peers and Town Hall episodes, we would like to send a strong message that nation building or national development doesn't just confine itself from being politically engaged and politically involved. There are other spheres of involvement which you can tap into, like being part of charitable organizations, of non-governmental, socio-civic organizations that do good for society. And in this case, Lighthouse Club Manila is all supporting the construction industry in general, particularly the construction industry stakeholders, and building up the future of the industry. And I believe this is important in our pursuit for holistic national development. And here at Peers, it is our mission not only to develop the political, socio-civic maturity of individuals and organizations, but to harness the collective talent, the collective heart, and the collective spirit of each and every Filipino. And this has been your Peers in Town Hall, episode 96. Would like to give the floor again to Bert. I think he has something to say as a last word based on what I've said. Bert, sorry. Take it away.
Evan, so a very, very good statement, and I cannot emphasize enough. It's not only me. It's our board of trustees. It's our active membership that will help to grow a club. And you mentioned that as well, and I completely want to echo your statement that's really important. It's not just one person who can do it.
Yes.
We need to have a strong construction community to make the Lighthouse Club a strong construction club. And thank you again, Aaron. Very, very good work that you're doing here with the Pit, and thank you for having me.
Yes, and before we end, we'd like to give a shout out also to the rest of the Board of Trustees of the Lighthouse Club Manila who may be watching this on a live or delayed episode. But thank you, Bert, for joining us. And sa ating mga kababayan, sa ating pong mga tagapanood, maraming salamat po sa pagsama nyo sa amin ngayong linggo ng umaga. Thank you for joining us this Sunday morning. And this has been The Pit, Peers in Town Hall. See you next week. Thank you very much and have a productive and restful Sunday.